is looking at markets outside India as the primary markets. And out of that, we are looking at the US and possibly Europe as our early markets. We have definitely invested most time in the US. Now I'll get into what we are doing in the US, but before that, I'll spend a minute on why we picked US. And I think that is for two reasons. In fact, three reasons. One is United States is by far the world's largest market for what we would broadly call well-being. The other point in the US is that one aspect of Indic well-being has gone deep into America in its own manner. And that gives us a very fertile ground to go and say, okay, there is a lot more from where this has come. And for us to be able to make a convincing case for Indic well-being. Think about this, right? We are talking about all these things, food and art and all of that. And we are going to a world which doesn't know anything about Indic well-being knowledge. It's tricky, right? It's not easy to get into that. And in the United States, we have a very powerful entry point. And that entry point is yoga. Many million people, in fact, hundreds of million people have already experienced yoga in the United States. And the sense we have is that something like half of those people, or maybe more, have a good sense of the fact that this yoga that they're doing, which is mainly asanas and all of that, is a very valuable thing that has come to them from the world of ancient Indian wisdom. That has percolated into the American middle class and upper middle class consciousness. It's a very profound thing. It has not happened overnight. It has probably happened over, now almost 100 years. We are seeing an opportunity to benefit from that, and therefore present the larger canvas of well-being to America. So one is that it's a very large market. Two is that it's a market kind of ready because of the presence of yoga so widespread, and the acceptance of yoga as a very valuable thing in daily life. The third reason is that there is a significant interest in the larger problem of well-being than just the problem of wellness and of healthcare. There is a very large market in healthcare. There is a very large market in wellness. But there is a nascent, but a very fast growing and a very discernible market in well-being, which is the higher order value we are talking about, to do that in America. I think the other markets will take a little bit more time to get to that, but I think America is very ready. So I think that's why America. And I think it's important to understand why we're looking at the US first. Now, what are we doing in the US? I think we are doing a few things. One, we are listening very carefully to what is it that the various segments of the market is saying about well-being, wellness, and how are they seeing it in their heads, and are we picking up the right signals? So we're doing a lot of things for that. One of the things that we did, for example, was to spend a substantial period of time in the US, in New York City, and we met a lot of people and we spoke, and it was wonderful because we were trying to really listen. Of course, we had to say a little bit about what we are hoping to do and all of that, but a lot more was about listening. And we learned a lot. I think we got a lot of insight. One of the questions that we were trying to answer is, where in the successful American person's life does Indic well-being knowledge sit? We as a provider of Indic well-being knowledge have to have a very sharp understanding of where in their life does our proposition sit. And it's not an understanding that will come just like that, and it will be slightly different for different people, but it's a quest. We must constantly listen and try to find the answer to that. So that's what we did. A lot of people willingly came to talk to us and tell us about what they wanted to tell us and so on. The next phase is got two parts. One part is starting, instead of just listening, now to go and talk about ourselves a little bit. That's the next phase, where we are introducing what is Leela Life and what is Indic well-being knowledge and all that in a slightly bigger way, in a bigger audience, is one part of the effort. The second thing that we are doing, which is a more operational business decision, is that we have decided that in every market that we go to, we are going to have a local organization which is going to do the actual business in that market, led by a co-founder that we have from that market. So it's actually a person, an American person that we are looking to find as a co-founder to Nishant and I to join the founder team and sort of implement this and execute this in the US. So that's the next phase. What you will see out of all of what I'm saying now is that we are going about it in a very systematic and a fairly calibrated kind of way. Now, why are we going about it in this calibrated way? There's one insight which I want to share is that I don't know how many people have thought about this, but India has never ever created a consumer brand in the world. There isn't a single sort of global consumer brand. So we have to be very conscious of the fact that there is a reason why that is so, and there have been mistakes that people have tried in the past and made. And the lesson that I have learned is that we have to be very calibrated, one, and B, we have to have a global DNA as a company. We cannot be an Indian company trying to go to those countries. We have to gradually become a global company. It comes from this great knowledge that we have, but it must be global in its understanding, in its orientation, in every aspect of the thing. So we are gradually going about that in a very careful manner. So that's what we are doing in the US.